Have you ever stopped to listen, really listen, to the way you speak to yourself? Not out loud, but in the quiet of your mind. Those words are not harmless. They're blueprints. Every thought you think is creating your future, and when you learn to speak with love, everything changes. Have you ever stopped to really listen to the way you speak to yourself? Not just the words you say out loud, but the quiet phrases that echo inside your mind. Those subtle, constant whispers that tell you who you are, what's possible, and what you deserve. For most of us, this inner voice runs on autopilot. It narrates our days, colors our emotions, and quietly builds the foundation of what we call reality. But what if I told you that this inner dialogue is not just commentary, it's creation? Louise Hay, one of the great teachers of self-healing, used to say, "Every thought we think is creating our future." At first, that might sound poetic, maybe even too simple to be true. But when you begin to observe your mind, when you see how your words shape your emotions, and how your emotions shape your actions, you start to realize this isn't poetry. It's the blueprint of life itself. You become what you believe, and what you believe is built word by word, thought by thought, in the conversations you have with yourself every single day. When you wake up in the morning, before your feet even touch the ground, your mind begins its gentle storytelling. Sometimes it says, "I'm tired." Sometimes, "I have too much to do." Sometimes, without even noticing, it says, "I can't." And each of these phrases, repeated enough times, becomes a command, not to your conscious mind but to the deeper layers beneath it, to your subconscious, the soil in which all your life experiences grow. Louise Hay taught that the subconscious mind doesn't argue or reason. It simply receives and obeys. It takes in your words as instructions. When you say, "I'm always broke," it doesn't analyze your bank account. It accepts it as truth and begins to organize your experiences around that belief. When you say, "Nothing ever works out for me," it doesn't question your logic. It simply aligns the outer world with that inner declaration. This is not punishment. It's programming. And the beautiful thing is, programming can be rewritten. Louise reminded us that every pattern, no matter how old, can be transformed through the power of conscious thought. The moment you start speaking to yourself with kindness, the moment you begin to replace old criticism with words of compassion, you start to rewire your inner world. And as that world changes, your outer world must follow. Because the subconscious mind is not separate from reality. It is the silent architect behind it. Think of it like this. Your thoughts are the seeds. Your emotions are the water. And your beliefs, those deeply rooted, often invisible convictions, are the soil. If your soil is full of fear and self-criticism, you could plant all the beautiful dreams in the world, but they'll struggle to grow. They won't find nourishment in a ground that doubts their worth. Louise Hay's entire philosophy began with one radical idea, that the foundation of all healing is self-love. That if we can learn to treat ourselves with the same tenderness we offer to those we love, our lives will naturally begin to transform. It's not the universe that withholds our blessings. It's our own disbelief that blocks them. When you speak to yourself with love, you're not pretending that everything is perfect. You're acknowledging your power to create something better. You're saying, "I see where I've been unkind to myself, and I choose differently now." And that small, gentle choice is where every miracle begins. Louise often spoke about mirror work, standing before your reflection, looking into your own eyes, and saying the words you've always longed to hear. "I love you. I am enough. I am worthy of good things." First, it can feel uncomfortable. It can even bring up resistance, tears, anger, disbelief. Because the truth is, most of us were not taught to love ourselves. We were taught to earn love, to deserve it, to chase it, to wait for others to reflect it back to us. But mirror work reverses that equation. Says, love begins here, with me. And when you repeat those words with sincerity, day after day, your subconscious begins to soften. The walls you've built through years of self-doubt start to dissolve. And slowly, almost imperceptibly, you begin to believe the truth of your own worth. There is a moment, and you'll feel it when it happens, when an affirmation stops being words and becomes a knowing. It's no longer something you're trying to convince yourself of, something you remember. That's when the shift occurs. Not because the words are magic, but because the energy behind them changes. You've moved from repetition to recognition, from effort to embodiment. Louise said, remember, you have been criticizing yourself for years and it hasn't worked. Try approving of yourself and see what happens. Sounds simple, but it's revolutionary. Because when you begin to approve of yourself, you stop fighting your own reflection. You stop searching for validation in places that can't sustain it. You stop abandoning yourself to please others. And instead, you start to build a home within your own heart. Affirmations are not about faking positivity. They are about reestablishing truth. They're a bridge between your wounded mind and your healed self. When you say, I am enough, you are not ignoring your pain. You are reminding the part of you that forgot. When you say, I am worthy of love, you are gently reparenting your inner child, telling them what they should have heard long ago. When you say, I am safe, you are bringing comfort to the parts of your nervous system that have lived in survival for too long. Every time you speak with love, you plant a seed of healing. And with each repetition, you water that seed until it becomes your new nature. Your mind doesn't resist kindness. It's just not used to it. So when old thoughts arise, I can't, I'm not enough, it's too late. You don't have to fight them. You simply recognize them as outdated software, programs that once served you but no longer fit who you're becoming. And instead of judgment, you offer replacement. You whisper, I am learning. I am growing. I am becoming the person I was always meant to be. Louise taught that healing is never about perfection. It's about returning to wholeness. It's about remembering that no thought is final, no belief is permanent, and no wound is beyond transformation. When you begin to change your words, you begin to change your vibration. And when your vibration changes, life starts responding differently. You'll notice softer moments, more ease, more synchronicities, the right people, the right opportunities, the right timing. Because the outer world is simply echoing the new frequency you've begun to hold within yourself. That's the hidden power of self-talk. It's not just about what you say. It's about who you are while saying it. Maybe today your only task is to speak one kind sentence to yourself. Just one. It doesn't have to be grand or poetic. It can be as simple as, I'm doing my best. I'm learning to love myself. I'm proud of how far I've come. Let those words linger. Let them land. Because every time you choose love over judgment, you are reprogramming your subconscious mind and rewriting the story of who you believe yourself to be. Every thought you think is like a ripple on the surface of a still lake. At first, it seems small, insignificant, but over time, those ripples spread, touching everything they meet. Your outer life is that lake. The way people treat you, the opportunities that appear or disappear, the emotions that flow through your body, they're all responding to the vibration of your inner thoughts. Louise Hay taught that the universe is always listening. not to your words alone, but to the energy beneath them. You can say, "I'm fine" 1,000 times, but if deep inside you carry the vibration of fear, shame, or self-doubt, that is what life will echo back to you. You cannot lie to your own energy. And that's not a punishment, it's liberation. Because it means that the moment you shift your inner tone, the outer world begins to rearrange itself. Louise believed that every word is an affirmation, whether you realize it or not. When you say, "I can't stand this job," that's an affirmation. When you say, "I'm terrible with money," that's an affirmation. When you say, "I never meet the right people," that too is an affirmation. Every sentence you speak is a seed, and life never fails to grow what you plant. So the question is not whether affirmations work. It's whether you're using them consciously or unconsciously. Your subconscious mind is like fertile soil. It doesn't care what kind of seeds you plant. It will grow weeds just as easily as it will grow flowers. Louise used to say, "You've been planting negative affirmations your whole life. Now start planting positive ones." It's not about denying what's real. It's about choosing what you wish to nurture. When you look in the mirror and say, "I'm ugly," your body hears that. Your cells, your posture, your hormones, they all respond. But when you whisper, "I am learning to love what I see," something begins to soften. That's not denial, that's healing. Because the body listens to the tone of your thoughts. It reacts not just to what you think, but to how you think it. And as Louise often reminded us, the body loves you. Every cell in your body responds to every thought you think. Think about that for a moment. Your body isn't your enemy. It's your ally. It mirrors your inner dialogue with perfect accuracy. When you live in fear, your body tightens. When you live in guilt, it contracts. But when you begin to speak words of love, your body begins to trust again. Your breath deepens. Your heart rate slows. Your nervous system starts to believe you are safe. And that is where true healing begins. Not in the struggle to fix the body, but in the willingness to speak to it with love. Louise Hay's work wasn't just about changing words. It was about changing relationships. The one you have with your own mind. She believed that our thoughts are not random. They are choices. And though it may not feel like it at first, you have the power to choose new ones again and again, until the new thoughts feel natural. First, it feels like swimming upstream. The old beliefs will resist. They'll whisper, "Who do you think you are to change?" They'll try to pull you back into old self-concepts. But each time you answer them with love, each time you say, "Thank you for protecting me, but I don't need that story anymore," you loosen their grip. You are not fighting your mind, you are re-educating it. You're teaching it a new language, one rooted in love instead of fear. When you begin to consciously choose loving thoughts, you start to notice the world through a different lens. The same situations appear, but your reactions soften. The same people show up, but you meet them with compassion instead of judgment. You realize that the world hasn't changed. You have. And because you have, everything looks and feels different. This is the essence of the law of attraction. But more than that, it's the law of resonance. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you are. When your inner conversation is one of peace, you find peace everywhere. When your inner voice is kind, kindness meets you in unexpected places. And when your inner words are full of love, love begins to show up in forms you never imagined. Louise once said, "If you want to understand what your thoughts have been creating, look at your life right now. It's a mirror. Always honest, always faithful." That can be hard to accept at first, because it means taking full responsibility, not blame. but responsibility for the vibration you carry. And yet, once you embrace that, you realize something powerful. If your old thoughts created this reality, your new thoughts can create a different one. You are not stuck. You are simply rehearsing an old script. And the moment you decide to write a new one, life begins to shift accordingly. Louise often recommended a simple practice: to catch yourself each time you use negative language. To pause, take a breath, and gently rephrase it. Instead of, "I'm always late," try, "I'm learning to value my time." Instead of, "I'll never get this right," say, "I'm getting better every day." Instead of, "No one understands me," say, "I'm open to being seen and heard." First, it might sound forced. It might feel unnatural. But remember, your current reality once felt unnatural too. It only became normal because you repeated it enough times. You can normalize love just as easily as you normalized fear. The words you speak to yourself are not small. They are sacred. Each one carries the power to expand or contract your life. So today, try to notice. Are your words opening your heart or closing it? Are they freeing you or keeping you small? Louise Hay used to write affirmations on sticky notes and place them all around her home, on mirrors in the kitchen, in her car, so that love would greet her everywhere she turned. You can do the same. It's not superstition. It's repetition. The language your subconscious understands best. Your mind learns through consistency, and if you feed it love long enough, it will eventually forget how to speak in fear. You are not trying to become someone new. You are remembering who you truly are. The part of you that existed before doubt took over, before comparison, before guilt. That part of you is still here, patiently waiting for your own words to call it back. So speak gently, speak truthfully, and speak with intention. You are the only voice your inner world will ever fully believe. Louise Hay's legacy was not about teaching people to avoid pain. It was about teaching them to love themselves through it. To use affirmations not as a mask, but as medicine. When you say, "I am willing to change," you open a door. When you say, "I am willing to forgive," you walk through it. When you say, "I love and approve of myself," you begin to build a new home within your heart. And from that home, from that vibration of love, everything else in your life begins to harmonize. Perhaps the most powerful affirmation you can ever speak is also the simplest. I am willing. Willing to heal. Willing to release. Willing to see things differently. Because willingness is the bridge between the past and the possible. It's the spark that invites grace to enter. And once grace begins to flow, change becomes inevitable. So the next time you catch your inner critic speaking, pause. Don't fight it. Don't shame it. Simply listen. And then respond with love. Whisper to yourself, "I hear you. But today I choose a kinder truth." That's where real transformation begins. Not in force, but in gentleness. Not in resistance, but in awareness. Because what you repeat, you become. And when love becomes your repetition, healing becomes your nature. At some point on this journey, something subtle begins to change. Your affirmations no longer feel like practice. They begin to feel like truth. You catch yourself saying, "I am worthy." And this time, you don't have to convince yourself. You feel it. The voice that once argued against your worth has grown quiet. Not because you silenced it, but because you no longer believe in its story. This is what Louise Hay called the moment of inner alignment. When your thoughts, emotions, and energy finally begin to move in the same direction. When the vibration of your words matches the truth of your soul. It's a moment of coming home. Because all along you weren't broken. You were simply living out a misunderstanding. You were never unworthy of love. You just learned to believe you were. And as you unlearn those beliefs, you don't become someone new. You return to the piece of who you've always been. Louise often said, "In the infinity of life where I am, all is perfect, whole, and complete." This wasn't about denying your pain. It was about remembering that beneath it, there's an unshakable core of love that has never been damaged. You don't have to reach for it. You just have to uncover it. Healing doesn't mean you never hear the old voice again. It means that when it speaks, you meet it with compassion instead of fear. You can say, "I know you're trying to protect me, but I choose peace now." And just like that, the energy shifts. The old pattern begins to dissolve. Because love doesn't fight what's wounded. It embraces it until it remembers it's safe. That's the essence of Louise's message. That love is the great dissolver. The energy that softens everything it touches. Even the hardest memories. Even the most stubborn pain. When you live from this space, affirmations are no longer just words. They become living energy. They're not something you do. They're something you are. When you think, "I am love," you no longer recite it. You radiate it. When you affirm, "Life supports me in every way," you start noticing how the world bends to meet that truth. Synchronicities increase. Peace deepens. And people around you begin to feel something different. Not because you're forcing it, but because your energy has become your prayer. You begin to see that the law of attraction is not about controlling life. It's about becoming the vibration that naturally attracts what belongs to you. You don't have to chase alignment. You simply remember it. The thoughts you think today are not just shaping tomorrow. They're sculpting your present moment. And when your present moment is filled with love, the future cannot help but reflect it. There's a quiet strength that comes when you realize you don't have to push the river. You just have to stop standing in your own way. Louise's teachings always led back to this simple truth. Life loves you. It's not against you. It's responding to you, to your inner dialogue, to your beliefs, to the tone of your heart. When you soften your thoughts, life softens around you. When you speak words of gratitude, gratitude begins to find you. When you forgive yourself, the world seems to breathe easier in your presence. Because healing yourself doesn't just change you, it changes the energy you bring into every room, every relationship, every moment. So the work isn't about perfection. It's about awareness. It's about noticing the small moments, the gentle choices that move you closer to love. When you catch yourself in self-criticism and choose understanding instead, that's healing. When you replace, "I'm failing," with, "I'm learning," that's healing. When you let yourself rest, even when your mind says you haven't earned it, that's healing. Every act of self-kindness is an affirmation in motion. And every affirmation, when lived, becomes freedom. You might look back one day and realize that nothing outside of you really changed, and yet everything feels different. Because you changed the lens through which you see. You changed the story you tell yourself about who you are. And in doing so, you changed the world you live in. Louise Hay's work was never about escaping reality. It was about transforming it from the inside out. She often said, "I do not fix problems. I fix my thinking. Then problems fix themselves." That's the art of self-talk. To realize that your mind is not the enemy. It's the canvas. And the words you speak are the brushstrokes that color your experience. Imagine for a moment what your life would feel like if your inner voice became your greatest supporter. What would it be like to wake up and have your first thought be, Today I choose peace. Or, I am surrounded by love. How would it feel if, instead of criticism, you offered yourself encouragement? If instead of judgment, you offered patience? If instead of rushing to change yourself, you pause to appreciate how far you've already come? That's the vibration of self-love. It's not loud. It doesn't demand. Simply allows. Louise Hay believed that gratitude was the highest affirmation, because gratitude says, I already have enough. It shifts your energy from lack to abundance, from striving to receiving. When you begin to thank life for even the smallest blessings, the breath in your lungs, the sunlight through your window, the quiet strength that has carried you through your hardest days, you begin to open a channel. And through that channel, life starts to pour more beauty, more grace, more love, not because you asked for it, but because you finally became a match for it. In the end, self-talk is not just a practice. It's a relationship with the most important person you will ever know, yourself. And like all relationships, it thrives on attention, patience, and tenderness. You don't have to get it perfect. You just have to stay willing to come back again and again to the words that bring you peace, to choose love, not as a concept, but as a way of being. So perhaps this is the invitation, to speak to yourself as you would to a dear friend, to meet your thoughts with softness, to remember that healing doesn't happen in a single moment. It happens every time you choose not to abandon yourself. Louise Hay once wrote, "You have the power to heal your life, and you need to know that." We often think we are helpless, but we're not. We always have the power of our minds. You don't have to force it. You don't have to rush it. You simply have to begin, one thought at a time, one gentle affirmation, one moment of grace. And before you know it, your inner dialogue will no longer be a battlefield. It will be a sanctuary. Because the truth is, you've never been your negative thoughts. You've just been listening to them for too long. Now it's time to listen to something deeper. The still, loving voice that's been waiting underneath all along. It whispers softly but clearly, "You are safe. You are loved. You are enough. And you always have been." If this message resonated with you, take a moment to like this video and subscribe for more gentle reminders of your inner power.